I don't even know who needs to hear this right now, but imagine a life where you no longer needed everybody to believe in you before you believed in yourself. And that you had the courage to follow what felt most authentic, most alignment, most purposeful, most meaningful to you before anyone else believed in it. And in today's video, you will learn why adopting and believing in yourself is one of the greatest art forms you will ever experience in your life before other people get to experience it. And it's going to be followed up with certain struggles, certain stories that shaped who I was becoming, and a few lessons that you will gain from it. And so for the longest time, you guys, I struggled with speaking my authentic truth. I had fear in speaking my truth, speaking my certainty, speaking my creativity. I had the fear of other people's judgments, other people's opinions, as I was saying. I had the fear of other people's just judgments. And it struck me, and every time I tried to say something or express something that was truly authentic to me, it always gets shut down, or I always had my voice shake. And for the longest time, I struggled with that, and I was on this hot pursuit to become a better communicator. This all started when I first had my first mystical experience in one of my meditations. I had this profound experience, this profound cosmic experience that transformed my life for the better. And it was during one of the meditations. And I don't know if you guys know Aaron Doughty, but he created this meditation called Feeling Whole, Worthy, and Complete. And at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just following his instructions, and eventually it just turned out something so transformative, so amazing, so graceful, that it left a divine mark on me that I wanted to experience that feeling again. And ever since that moment, I realized like how poor my communication was, or how poor just speaking up was. And I noticed that like my ability to communicate my thoughts coherently, to express my feelings coherently, was very dampened. It was very dull. It was very incoherent. It just didn't have a lot of structure. It didn't have a lot of coherence around it. And just by me becoming aware of my speaking habits, I realized that I wanted to change it. I wanted to get better at speaking my truth. I wanted to get better at speaking my thoughts and my emotions clearly, authentically, creatively, powerfully. And for years, I wanted to just get better, and I read everything I could about communication, public speaking, social skills, body language. I even got into sales. Sales, you guys. I got into sales, and it was uncomfortable at first because it was door-to-door sales, and I had to go knock doors and practice reading a script and trying to sell something to someone. And what I realized at the time was that I was working on perfecting my communication, learning to have more certainty with what I was saying, and to have more conviction and more authenticity. And I was doing this more for me. I loved the product, and I was working with this company called Vivint. And I believed in the product because this company is a all-in-one system. It's a home security system where you're being protected 24/7 with doorbell cameras, outdoor cameras. There's like door sensors, window sensors. And so if a burglar tries to break into your house, like it just sets off the whole entire house. And there's like a panel that just comes on, and it's like the center of the magnet, the heart. And it's like an intercom that just comes on and just speaks. And I really believed in this system. I believed in this product because in my own personal life, we also got robbed. Me and my family got robbed before. Someone broke into our house. We didn't have any of the systems. So it affected me. I was like, oh my God, this is something I want to believe in. And I realized that this was the system, this was the path that I wanted to take to get better at my communication skills. I was clear, but at the time, I didn't have a lot of courage. I didn't believe in myself a lot, but I do have the conviction that I could sell something. That was enough to trigger me, to invoke within me to make something happen, to become a better communicator. Even if I didn't have the courage, and yeah, there were so many moments where People hated on me. They called the cops on me. They pulled guns on me. They had their dogs chase after me. I get cussed at, you name it. Anything you could probably throw. I got the UFO called on me, got the FBI, the mafia, anything that you could think of, I got caught on. And it was enough, like that experience, that the adversity was not enough to make me go play mediocre, to deter me from having the courage to speak my authentic truth. And it did help. And you guys are probably wondering why I'm explaining this to you guys. And if you guys see me looking down, just know that I'm looking at my notes, and I just want to speak my absolute clarity when it comes to this stuff. But I think one of the hardest parts of chasing your dreams or chasing your goals or whatever you want to go after, the hardest part about it is seeing the proof before it happens. It's seeing the proof before it happens. And I think that goes for a lot of us when it comes to trying to create something and have the courage to do something. And yeah, there were moments where I never thought in a million years that I wanted to become a better communicator or become a public speaker at that. Like, in my mind, that was never a possibility. It was never a possibility in my mind's eye. But when I realized that I wanted to get better at communicating and I wanted to find ways to just articulate my thoughts in the midst of adversity that shakes me, and I wanted to learn how to stand firm and to be unshakable in the sense to stand my ground when it comes to speaking my authentic truth. And so I just want to share with you guys a few lessons that I learned. First things first is that you have to stop asking permission for you to become who you're meant to be. That is the first lesson that I learned. Because at the time I was asking a lot of my friends, like, hey, like, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? And for the longest time, I was listening to what everyone else wanted me to do instead of listening to what I wanted to do. The courage to follow what felt right and most authentic to me. And weighing out the possibilities of following what other people wanted me to do into what I wanted to was a huge breakthrough of my identity. It's like I wanted to follow what felt most alignment without having the permission to do what I wanted to do. That was the first lesson. The second lesson is self-belief is built by keeping promises to yourself. So when you can keep small promises to yourself to follow through on something, you will naturally build the authentic energy of courageousness or courage. It's the energy of being courageous. And so I'm not sure who's watching this right now in this video, and I might be cutting out a lot of different things because I'm practicing a different framework or format that I've never done before, and it's a brand new thing to me. And so if you see me cutting out specific things or whatever, it's just probably things that I just don't feel like it's needed in this video. But it's so important, you guys, to find ways to do things to build courage. Courage is one of the greatest attributes that you could ever develop, and it's one of the greatest art forms that you could ever develop. And it's one of the greatest ways to build your authentic nature. By expressing your authentic truth, your authentic creativity, there is a possibility where you are courageous. You have the courage to follow through on your dreams, on your vision, on your creative, artistic side. There is a possibility for that, and there has to be certain things that needs to be in place in order for you to step in fully on who you want to become. And so when it comes to this stuff, you have to start using your neocortex. It's the part of the brain that speculates possibility. You ask questions like, what would it be like to be more courageous? What would it be like to be more fearless? What would it be like to be more shameless? This is you activating the neocortex of your brain, where it's all about speculating a possibility that's never been dreamed of before, but you're speculating a vision, a dream, and imagining a possibility that you haven't experienced yet. And when you can speculate the possibility and you feel inspired, you activate the limbic brain, the part of the brain that deals with the emotional centers of your brain or the emotional centers of your body. So when you speculate the possibility, when you activate your neocortex, You speculate the possibility, you have the thought, you have the engagement of that imagination, and that imagination produces specific biochemical reactions that send chemicals to the body to make you feel what you were just thinking. And so if you were thinking how to be courageous, how to be fearless, how to be shameless in any endeavor that you choose, and you get in touch with the vision or the imagination, that imagination produces a chemical that makes you feel courageous, that makes you feel fearless, that makes you feel shameless or authentic. And you feel it on a soul level. You feel it on a chemical level. And when you can get your mind and body to work as one, you start conditioning that state of being, which is courage, or which is fearlessness, or which is shamelessness. What tends to happen is that you activate the cerebellum, which is the memory part of the brain. The cerebellum deals with memorization. So when you can memorize courage, when you can memorize fearlessness, when you can memorize shamelessness, there's so much magic that happens in that. There's just so much magic, because when you memorize a specific state of being, it's who you are. It becomes a habit. It becomes who you are. But if you are stuck in fear, if you're stuck in procrastination, if you're stuck in shame or guilt or judgment, and you've done that for years on end, it's gonna take you a while to unwire from that mindset, from that state of being. And if you have done that for years on end and it's become a state of being or a habit, you have to think greater than how you feel to make any lasting change in your life. And what do I mean by that? If your vision is to become courageous or to show up or to be fearless or shameless or authentic, and that was your vision, but if you had the habit, the unconscious habit of being small, playing small, shutting yourself out from possibility, and that was your natural state, you will have to think greater than how you feel, which is your state of being of the unconscious state. You would have to think greater than how you feel to make any lasting change. So you would have to choose you. You would have to develop the courage to choose you on a moment-to-moment basis. And it's those small moments where you have to build trust with yourself. And you have to keep those promises where it will naturally develop courage. And there were so many moments in my past where, there were moments where I didn't show up for my sales and I kind of procrastinated and I didn't knock as many doors as I know I could have. There were moments like that. I'll be transparent with you guys. And there were moments where I just walked the whole entire day because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have the courage to just go knock because I was afraid. I was afraid that I was going to get the gun pulled on me, or I was afraid that they're going to cuss at me. I was afraid that they're going to get the cops called on me. I was afraid that they're going to call the mafia on me. I was afraid. But one of the greatest things that I came to realize that it was about who I was becoming, who I wanted to be, how I wanted to overcome rejection and objections. Because if I could overcome rejection and objections, I would have no fear of rejection. If there was a possibility that I need to do a business proposal or something like that, and I get rejected, would that hurt me? And I had to think that the courage of that was more empowering than the disencouragement of staying the same. And so, looking at my notes here, you guys, I truly do believe that courage lives within all of us, and it needs to be activated, it needs to be awakened, it needs to be illuminated. It must be illuminated, you guys. And there's so much power and there's so much grace that comes when you awaken the power of courage, to awaken the courageous heart to feel things that you don't feel before, to do things that you don't typically do before. And I just want to share with you guys that you don't need to ask permission to become someone that you were meant to become. You don't need to ask permission. You do not need to ask permission. The world doesn't need another copy of another copy of another copy. The world needs the real you, the courageous you. It needs that version of you, and only you, that version of you that's already courageous, fearless, and unstoppable. There's a specific quality that the divine radiates through that, and only people, and there's certain people that can only receive that quality that only you can demonstrate. And so, if this video resonated with you, if it called out to you, my intention with this video is to speak with the intention that you develop the energy of courage, the fearlessness, the shamelessness, the non-judgmentalness, but to step into the version that you were meant to become. Because there is a you that's already courageous. And all you have to do is step into it. It's by taking one step to do things that you've never done before. And so if you found this video, this is your sign to do a courageous step. Do it intelligently and wisely. And so this is your sign to just make that happen. No matter how hard it is or how challenging it is, this is your sign to make it happen. Because there's a future you that's waiting for you to demonstrate that quality, that attribute, that characteristic. And only you can do that. And the divine has chosen you. Your future has chosen you to demonstrate it. And so, my question is to you is, are you willing to answer the call? Are you willing to step into that new future? And I'm sorry if this video has been all over the place and I was just trying this new format of just trying and experiencing something different. And you're gonna see a lot of experimentations, but if this resonated with you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear where you guys are at or what you're experiencing in your daily life. And let's create this luminous nature together. We are luminaries in the making. And if you found this video, you are a luminary, which means that you are a leader that inspires and influences others to become their own personal light, to become their beacon of light. This is your sign, my friends. This is your sign. And that's it.